The Brotherhood of the Esoteric Teaching kept this teaching alive and kept it pure. Meanwhile, the whole Vedic civilization was unraveling, and it was gradually breaking apart and turning into what we now know as Western culture or materialistic civilization. When people are bereft of higher guidance, they gradually become animalistic. And over the last 5,000 years, this is basically what has happened. People have gone from a civilization that was guided by self-realized souls to a civilization guided by people without self-realization. And that explains the entire sweep of the last 5,000 years of human history. The Vedic civilization had a very highly developed system of technology, something very similar to nanotechnology, a distributed computing environment controlled by mantras. And when the Vedic civilization collapsed, this technology stopped working. It was sort of like if we got up one morning and suddenly everything electrical didn't work. Can you imagine what a disaster that would be? Well, that's something like what happened to the Vedic civilization when Krishna left this planet. It's like he turned off the lights. So everything's been basically going downhill since then, spiritually speaking. And although today we have a very varied and amazing materialistic civilization based on technology and exploitation of natural resources, this civilization does not promote spiritual realization. Therefore, we're all suffering. So now is the time that the esoteric teaching has come out of the background, actually out of secrecy, and is being broadly pushed and promoted all over the world under different names. And one of these names is the esoteric teaching. Nevertheless, all the organizations promoting this teaching are working together in concert, in harmony, for its advancement and the advancement of the entire human civilization. The thing about Vedic culture is that it's not exclusive, it's inclusive. That means all types of people are accepted in Vedic culture. There's a place for everyone, from the highest to the lowest of human beings. And there's also appropriate guidance and education given. Spiritual training is available for everyone. And all of this spiritual information is drawn directly from the Vedic literatures. Now, when the Vedic Empire collapsed, there were 4 disciplic lineages formed to propagate this Vedic teaching. And I mentioned them earlier. They are the Brahma Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya, the Shri Sampradaya, and the Kumara Sampradaya. These 4 are the only 4 authorized Vedic lineages. None of the other lineages that have sprouted up everywhere are actually authorized. So we can't be sure about the veracity of their teachings. We should be very cautious about this and not accept an imitation. For example, now you can go to Hong Kong and you can buy a Timex watch for about $5, or you can buy a Rolex watch for about $10. Now wait a minute. A Rolex watch usually costs about $500 or $1,000. Well, of course, it's not a real Rolex. It's a counterfeit. Similarly, you can go to India and you can search very hard and find a real guru, or you can go down to your local yoga center or whatever, New Age center, and you can find someone who claims to be a guru and who claims to know the Vedas and who claims to be able to bring you to enlightenment. And it's much easier than going to India. It's much easier than studying the esoteric teaching with a bona fide spiritual master or master teacher. But will you get the same results? No. No. Because the phony disciplic succession is a counterfeit. And the biggest counterfeit is called Hinduism. Hinduism is a synthetic religion, not an original faith, but it is an administrative solution to the British Empire's problems in governing India. India is incredibly diverse. There are so many religious cultures, all based on the Vedas, but with varying degrees of fidelity and levels of advancement and so forth. This was very bewildering to the British, who were used to dealing with a more or less homogeneous Christian world. So they tried to create an umbrella religion to shelter, or rather to manage, all the different branches of the Vedic religion under one roof. And that was Hinduism. It was very convenient for administration. Unfortunately, some of the Vedic branches have become so degenerate that they basically go in the opposite direction and involve people more and more in materialistic life. For example, what is called yoga and tantra these days is completely different from the original Vedic teachings, and it actually entangles people more in materialistic life rather than freeing them and bringing them toward spiritual life. If you go to a yoga school nowadays, they'll teach you that, well, you just have to do these exercises, and somehow or other, eventually you'll attain self-realization. But do they explain how to attain self-realization? No. Do they explain how the 8 limbs of yoga go together to create spiritual enlightenment? No. But they can't explain these things because they have lost the knowledge. And if you begin asking questions, you'll find yourself very quickly unwelcome. So you have to understand that what is taught as yoga and tantra in the West today basically has no connection with the original Vedic sources. It has become commercialized. It has become disconnected from the original purpose of the Vedas, which is spiritual life. If you just concentrate on the body, then you can cultivate your material life. That's fine. But what about your spirit? What about the need that we have to hear the absolute truth? That's not available through the modern schools of yoga and tantra. So we should be aware of them. We should be very cautious only to take instruction from authorized teachers who are initiates of a bona fide disciplic succession. And again, I'll give you the names. The Brahma Sampradaya, descended from Lord Brahma. The Rudra Sampradaya, descended from Lord Shiva through Ramanujacharya. The Lakshmi Sampradaya, or Sri Sampradaya, descended from Goddess Lakshmi, and their most famous teacher is named Vishnu Swami. And the Sanaka Sampradaya, or Kumar Sampradaya, descended from the 4 Kumaras through Nimbarkacharya. So these are the 4 authorized Vedic lineages. Others are not authorized. If someone is teaching Shankara, they cannot help you. They cannot really guide you towards your eternal spiritual identity and your perfect body. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of My Perfect Body. This is David Hughes, your host, reminding you to visit us on the web at esotericteaching.org, where you can purchase the complete Esoteric Teaching Introductory Seminar DVD and many CDs of transcendental music and mantras.